2018 Suzuki Swift Hatchback Review. Pros: perky performance in Boosterjet form. Fun AR driving with sporty handling. Faster, lighter and even more economical than predecessor. Generous equipment levels. Cons: price gap to rivals is closing. No 3-door model available. Swift Sport not expected available for sale until 2018. Interior quality just about up with class leaders. The Suzuki Swift is a popular supermini choice inside the UK since its relaunch in 2005 to be a desirable small car as opposed to a bargain basement offering. Yes, there was clearly two previous generations of Swift sold within the 1980s and 1990s, nonetheless they never purchased from serious numbers. With its cheeky styling, a sporty driving experience and keen prices, the Swift acquired a strong after that continued while using 2011 car, and, which Suzuki hopes continues with this particular iteration. There's a great deal riding around the 5th generation Swift mainly because it promises to combine the charm on the original which has a dash of sophisticated styling and technology. Suzuki is now offering 3 cars from the smallest car sectors, with all the Baleno and Ignis sharing showroom space using the Swift, and yes it hopes this can be more than enough solution to see off rivals, including the Ford Fiesta, Skoda Fabia and Vauxhall Corsa. Greater efficiency, more style. Suzuki says that it's a sportier driving option as opposed to more mainstream supermini opposition. The signs are perfect even before you drive it. It's 10 mm shorter, lower, roomier inside and 120 kg lighter than its predecessor, while its styling is funkier, too, with additional sculpted flanks, LED back and front lights, and also a more stylized front grille. There are 2 engines available, the 1.2-liter 4-cylinder Dualjet entry-level car, and also the innovative 111 horsepower 3-cylinder 1.0-liter Boosterjet version. This is the star from the range, combining a state combined fuel consumption figure of 65.7 miles per gallon and emissions of 97 GkM. Without SVHS it's 61.4 miles per gallon and 104 GkM. There is no more a diesel version, and also the Swift Sport is promised for early 2018. Goodbye 3-door, hello hybrid. One area where choice has diminished is its body style, so you no longer have the option involving a 3-door version, an undeniable fact that might postpone younger buyers. But the rear door handles are hidden which provides this Swift a little bit of 3-door attitude. Unusually just for this class of car, Suzuki offers exactly what it calls an SHVS mild hybrid system. Which means is there's a lithium-ion power supply beneath the passenger seat, plus it gathers energy from braking to power a smaller integrated starter generator. And that boosts power when accelerating. Suzuki Swift Sport unveiled in September 2017. The new Suzuki Swift Sport looks akin to the standard version, with many and the important upgrades going on under the skin. It gets to be a remolded bumper, a brand new grille, more prominent chin spoiler. Inside, it receives red highlights along with an updated head-up display which includes an additional turbo boost gauge, that ought to appeal to enthusiastic drivers. Weight is to 970 kg from 1050 kg with the previous generation Sport. This means power-to-weight ratio has been enhanced, therefore it should be faster. No performance figures are actually announced. It's powered with a 1.4-liter Boosterjet turbocharged 4-cylinder petrol engine shared with all the Suzuki Vitara's power output is 138 horsepower. Suzuki says the ride and handling setup was made on UK roads, which promises much. Stay tuned for any first drive, late in 2017. The verdict. In a nutshell, this can be a fun car they are driving, then one which promises reliability and dependability to fit its sportiness. Although it's quite a bit less cheap because previous generation Swift, it's still great value, and it is available in 3 equipment levels, which might be all generously appointed, as well as being a number of interesting optional extras. Although it features evolutionary styling, the revolutionary Swift are one step over its likable predecessor, and head somewhere near the head of that class. Certainly, with regards to driving experience in Boosterjet form especially, it provides each 200,917 Ford Fiesta a run because of its money. It's roomier, more economical, and it is blessed with an increase of style compared to old model, an uncommonly good supermini for any bargain price. Suzuki Swift hatchback review whether it's good enough to visit the top in the class. Boosterjet version is quick and fun they are driving. Excellent acceleration aided by hybrid system. Refined engine loves being driven hard. Petrol in the engine lineup. Based on our drive in the 1.0-liter Boosterjet version with 111 horsepower and weighing a modest 915 kilograms, you'd be to certainly expect warm hatchback quantities of performance. It has a 0.62 miles per hour period of 10.6 seconds plus the maximum speed is 121 miles per hour in gear pulling power can be reasonable as a result of a healthy 170 Nm of torque 160 Nm within the auto. We much like the way it pulls at low engine speeds, and therefore you won't want to use the sweet shifting 5-speed gearbox many times to keep program the flow. In fact, it pulls happily from walking quick into the legal limit, just in 3rd gear. So, there's you should not extend it beyond 4,000 revolutions per minute, although it's pleased to be revved towards the red line, if that's your personal style. It cruises happily around the motorway, its refinement tied to wind in lieu of engine noise, plus town, the sunshine, well-weighted controls, along with good visibility, mean it's pleasant to operate a vehicle in urban environments. For improved economy and emissions, the 1.0-liter and 1.2-liter engine will also be spec'd with Suzuki's mild hybrid HVS system. This uses electricity to assist the Swift when pulling away, gaining charge in the event the vehicle brakes. Power and gratification figures for 1.0-liter cars fitted using the SHVS system are unchanged. 1.2-liter Dualjet feels upon power. The cheapest engine within the Swift's lineup, the 1.2 Dualjet, feels noticeably slower as opposed to pricier 1.0-liter. There's practically enough choose driving near the city, but get out onto motorways or hilly roads and also the 90 horsepower engine really sets out to struggle. Acceleration to 62 miles per hour takes 11.9 seconds inside front-wheel drive version and 12.6 from the four-wheel drive car. But both feel slower than the others' figures suggest. And because there's this kind of dearth of meaningful oomph, the engine and gearbox need to be worked exceptionally hard, bringing fuel economy down significantly. The four-wheel drive system adds noticeable weight, too, so only spec it if necessary. Urgent feeling auto gearbox. The 6-speed automatic gearbox limited on 1.0-liter Boosterjet models is impressively responsive, and delivers smooth well-timed changes at normal speed. However, go on onto a faster road and yes, it begins to struggle. Should you intend to accelerate forward on a trip at speed, the gearbox takes a hurried feeling change down, often to elicit any real movement, building a frustrating experience as being the transmission constantly flicks between gears. On the plus side, 0.62 miles per hour drops from 10.6 to 10 seconds flat, even though top speed drops 3 miles per hour from 121 miles per hour to 118 miles per hour. Suzuki says it's sporty, we say it's responsive. Accurate steering and tidy cornering available. Despite sportiness, it's not uncomfortable on poor roads. Overall, the Swift meets Suzuki's promise of a sporty drive. It's good, or longer among the most beneficial cars in their class. It's just about as good because Ford Fiesta, and surely not far off, lacking a little of their rival's go-kart feel. Despite being biased for handling, the ride quality is a lot more than acceptable, with the deepest potholes and road ruts causing problems using a spirited drive. Damping is supple, rounding over worst on the edges, while overall cornering is in the agile variety. The steering is noteworthy due to its quick rack and lightness, although like almost all the competitive set, you trade off-road feel for overall weight and accuracy. Solidly made, however, some materials short of quality. Good driving position and visibility. Old-school infotainment strategy is the biggest unhappy. Build quality is commonly Suzuki, good, but less than the best when it comes to material feel. It's functional, if nearly as stylish as some rivals. It's also tightly screwed together, so you know it'll think way for many years to come. That said, the driving position is a great one, and control layout is not difficult and effective. The heating and ventilation product is operated by simple centrally mounted knobs, and all in the rest with the control set is utterly conventional in their positioning. The switchgear carries a nice, chunky action, and feels well engineered. Finally, a thing about the infotainment system. Although it's well featured, the screen is small, the touchscreen a tad unresponsive, and clunky rolling around in its response. It feels a little aftermarket, and compared together with the slick system supplied by its rivals, it's hard to not conclude it's disappointing. Seats are supportive and also a good choice of adjustments. Although it's sporty from the Benz, ride quality is acceptable. Refined engine promises hushed cruising. Ride quality is above average within the small car class. Potholes and road ruts do upset the Auto's overall demeanor on rough roads, but it's better compared to Vauxhall Corsa and Ford Fiesta. This is because, with the super comfortable Citroën C3 showing the Swift a clean 2 of heels. The suspension feels in tune together with the entire car, meaning larger bumps are handled reasonably well whether or not a noticeable thud is transmitted through for the cabin. The overall effect is usually a stable, tie-down feel which is able to balance comfort and handling with aplomb. Road and wind noise is perhaps apparent at speed, and includes the Swift is overshadowed by many of their more refined rivals. The reason is impressive standard kit across all trim levels. Top spec SZ5 car gets comprehensive equipment list. No optional equipment available about the Swift. The Swift impresses for the equipment front, offering a great base spec and exceptional kit levels within the top from the range-topping SZ5. Standard Suzuki Swift hatchback equipment. Included inside the base SZ3 spec has all the small car essentials including aircon, Bluetooth phone connectivity, front electric windows and DAB digital radio. Upgrade for the SZT trim, supposed to be the highest selling variant, and goodies for example Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, a rear view camera, 16-inch alloy wheels and front fog lamps are mixed in. Top spec SZ5 is how the vast majority from the fancy equipment will come in, however. Say enough. climate control, LED headlamps with good beam assist, adaptive cruise control, keyless entry start, 16-inch alloy wheels and telescopic tire adjustment are part with the mountain of kit added to your flagship trim level. SZ5 can also be the only spec level to feature autonomous emergency braking. Optional Suzuki Swift hatchback accessories. Suzuki deliberately supplies the Swift without extra optional equipment, thus simplifying the process. However, customers might take their car to your dealership and order exterior color packs, adding visual additions, for example stripes, colored wing mirrors and wheels. These can come fitted to your car and swapped at will. Not yet crash-tested by Euro NCAP. Expected to obtain 4 or 5 stars. Autonomous emergency braking only obtainable on top spec. Although the 5th generation Suzuki Swift has to be crash-tested because of the experts at Euro NCAP, the company expects small hatchback to attain 5 stars if your safety outcomes are announced. While the standard safety kit, for instance all-round airbags, ABS brakes and electronic stability control is standard along the whole Swift range, autonomous emergency braking is frustratingly restricted on the range-topping SZ5 models. Referred to by Suzuki as dual-sensor brake support, it can attempt to stop the automobile if an impending collision is detected from 3 miles per hour to 62 miles per hour. It's an effective bit of safety kit and may save your life at some point, hence why SZ3 and SZD spec cars won't achieve as high a safety rating as being the flagship SZ5 car. Not that any of us would recommend it unless it's needed for where you live in Britain. However, the Swift's made available with Suzuki's all-grip 4-wheel drive system. In many instances, most Swift drivers could well be served just as well having a regular front-wheel drive model fitted with winter tires. Passenger room is competitive, having its Super Mini rivals. Boot bigger last model, however not class-leading. Noticeably lower seating position than before. Although the Swift is shorter than before, it's also roomier inside, due to having a longer wheelbase. So you have more legroom, and because of lower-mounted seats which give you a more reclined driving position than before, there's more headroom back and front. Journeys with 3 adults within the back might be best kept short, but there's enough legroom and overall cabin width to supply rear passengers a surprisingly comfortable environment. Note however that rear electric windows are just available around the top spec SZ5 model. There's a powerful range of cubbies and cup holders inside the front cabin, too, even when the materials surrounding them does feel somewhat cheap. The boot capacity is 265 liters, and that is 54 liters up from before, but it's no class leader. It carries a high loading lip that produces putting heavy objects in additional difficult PC needs to be. If you want the roomiest, grab a Skoda Fabia, Dacia Sandero or Kia Rio.